If you're a finance manager, financial controller, head of finance in a startup or scale up, and you want to become a CFO, I want to go through areas where the skills that you need and where people can sometimes get it wrong. So this video is part of my series on how to become a CFO in a startup. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 skills that actually matter, including one that many finance professionals completely underestimate. And if you stay to the end, you'll know exactly what you need to focus on if you want to move into that CFO role. My name's Alysha Randall. I am a CFO and I've been working with startups and scale ups since 2006, and I train new and aspiring CFOs in scale ups, and I wrote a book on it as well. So if you're working in finance in a startup or scale up and you're aiming for that CFO role, I can tell you right now, the gap between where you are today and where you want to be, so in that CFO role, is absolutely, probably most definitely not a technical gap. Most people already have the accounting, the reporting, and the modeling skills, but the real shift is how you think, how you communicate, how you support decisions in the business, and that's moving quite quickly, and you don't have perfect information. So just to make it a bit clearer, I wanted to go through 5 skills that actually move someone from that finance manager, financial controller, even head of finance role into a CFO role in a startup or scale up. The first one is turning numbers into decisions. Now, this is a big shift, and I will say this did take me a little while to get used to as well. So at a certain level, everyone can produce reports. And as we know, with AI agents and Claude and all the other stuff, AI agents soon will be able to produce the reports that you have been doing for years. And that's not what makes you a CFO. What matters is, what do these numbers mean? What should the business do next? And what are the trade-offs? So when you're looking at the management accounts, you're not necessarily just reviewing them to see that they're technically accurate. I mean, of course, you have to do that as well. But the main thing you're looking at is, what do these numbers tell me about the future? So, for example, do we need to slow hiring to extend the runway? Do we need to increase spend to accelerate growth? Which product or channel should we focus on? And if you're only presenting numbers without a point of view, then you're not quite operating as a CFO yet. So it really should be, what are these numbers telling me about the future, and how can I use them to make sure that the business will hit its strategic goals? Number 2 is commercial understanding and including cash runway. So you need to understand how the business makes money, and with that, how long it's going to survive. So what are the real revenue drivers? Not thinking about how much revenue should be and whether you've hit budget enough, but what is actually making that revenue number bigger. Pricing and margins is also very important. Have you got the right pricing? Are we doing the right pricing strategy? And is the margins at the level that we expect them to be, or growing, so that you, again, can hit your profitability goals? Customer behavior is also really important. It's not just a sales and commercial problem, it's your problem as well. Cost structure, of course, and critically, cash runway. So in startups, cash runway can absolutely drive decision making. Every decision will tie back to how much cash is left, how quickly is it being spent, and what needs to change to extend it. So cash is your real limiting resource, and capital deployment is a big part of your role. So questions will be asked: if you only have this finite resource, what are you going to spend it on so that you hit your goals? Is big part of your role. So if you don't understand both the commercial model and the cash position, then you really can't guide the business properly. And what I have seen before is either if you have a really switched on founder, they will do this part of the role of the CFO role. And if you don't do it, then potentially a CFO will be hired above you and will do that instead, or the business might run into a bit of trouble. Number three is communication, and that is outside the finance function, that is not with your finance team, even though communication with your team is also very important, of course, but really honing down the way that you talk to people who are not finance experts. So you might be really technically strong, but if people don't really understand you, then it doesn't really matter. So you really need to be able to explain financial concepts really simply and present to founders and leadership team and actually the entire team. You know, if you're a CFO, you may have to stand up at all hands and do a presentation. And you also want to influence decisions without overwhelming people with all the detail. You want to be able to talk at that high level. And a lot of finance professionals can really overcomplicate things, particularly with too much details. So the best CFOs that I have worked with, they simplify and actually make things super simple. That might sound easy. It's actually not that easy. Simplifying a complex problem or simplifying the revenue driver, for example, isn't an easy thing to do, but being able to do that well is a real skill. And if you don't have that skill, I would highly recommend you practicing that. But really good CFOs who are able to simplify things, they can help the business really understand what matters, what needs changing, and what needs to happen next. Number four is prioritization. So there is always too much to do in a startup. You could easily spend your whole day firefighting, dealing with Slack messages and your inbox, and that's about it. But you will never have a complete to-do list. That's just the way it is. So instead, you need to have a skill or practice the skill in deciding what actually matters right now, what can wait, and what doesn't need doing at all. And without being able to do this, you will be stuck firefighting and reacting and trying to fix everything at once, which is very much a manager level way of doing things. Whereas strong CFOs really focus on the few things that move the business forward. Now, if you think you need help with that, I would highly suggest that you take a look at the Eisenhower matrix. I did do a video on this to help you with time management. It is a real challenge for CFOs, particularly in startups or scale-ups where you do have not much resources and too much to do. So definitely take a look at that video to help you with prioritization. Number five is leadership. So at some point, your role really stops about all the reporting, many reports that you send around the business, making sure you're compliant. And instead, you really need to focus on the leadership skills that I've mentioned above, but also you'll be thinking about things like building a team, setting standards, developing people, and really creating structure. And you need to move away from doing everything yourself to building a team that can operate without you. So this is where a lot of strong financial professionals struggle, particularly with that delegation and really building an infrastructure around you that doesn't need you. That is what a true leader does, and getting yourself out of the detail and trusting everyone around you. It's easier to be said than done. So if you want to become a CFO in a startup, these skills really matter. So it's not more technical knowledge, more complex models. That's not what you should be focusing on, particularly if it's, say, a financial controller, head of finance level. The focus or the gaps that you really need to think about is how you think, how you communicate, how you make decisions, how you prioritize, and how you lead. And these are the areas that founders really notice. And these are the skills that can get you into that role. If you really want to become a confident and skilled CFO or finance leader, then definitely hit subscribe on that button. As I said, this is part of a series on how to become a CFO in a startup or scale up. So this is the second video of this series. So definitely have a look at the first one as well. And the next few weeks, I'll be continuing this series. So you definitely want to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of those. Another step that you could look at is to check out my book, Financial Leadership Fundamentals, How to Become a CFO in a Startup or Scale Up, where we go through our framework, which is all about building blocks from your leadership skills and what the role entails, getting a strong foundation, and then adding in your value adding and strategy on top of that. Otherwise, we also have a course that you can check out as well. All the links will be below. Thanks so much for watching. I do a video every single Thursday, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.